Have you ever watched one of those videos where you just feel completely transported? You know the ones. Nobody says a single word, but somehow you can feel the chill in the air, you can feel the warmth from the fire, you get that sense of peace from a quiet morning. That, right there, is the incredible power of silent storytelling. It's all about crafting an experience, not just showing what happened. And today, we're going to break down exactly how you can create these beautiful cinematic vlogs for yourself.
So here's our roadmap. We're going to start with the big idea, the power of showing versus telling. Then we'll get into the real magic, crafting that cozy, Ghibli-inspired atmosphere. After that, we'll look at the actual blueprint for your story, learn how to direct all the senses, and finally, wrap it all up so you can start telling your own unique story.
All right, let's kick things off with the foundation of it all, the power of silent storytelling and what it really means to move beyond words. This is all about understanding how taking dialogue out can actually create a way deeper, more emotional connection with your audience.
This classic piece of advice for writers, it's the absolute heart of the cinematic vlog. Look, when you tell someone you feel cozy, they get it, intellectually, but when you show them the steam rising from a cup, the soft glow of a lamp, and you let them hear the rain on the window, well, then they feel cozy right there with you. You're not just a narrator anymore, you're an architect of feeling.
Okay, now for the fun part. Let's talk about crafting that signature Ghibli atmosphere. This is where we break down the specific ingredients, the style, the mood, the pace, that give these videos that calm, almost magical feeling.
So, the shift here is absolutely crucial. Traditional vlogs often rely on a personality talking at the camera. It's about them. But cinematic vlogs, they're an invitation. The slow pace and the focus on the atmosphere invites you, the viewer, to step into that world and share the experience. It's a totally different approach.
These right here are the pillars that hold up the entire mood. It's a really delicate balance. What you're aiming for is this calm, cozy feeling that comes from celebrating the quiet beauty of nature and just being alone. The story finds its rhythm in simple, mindful actions, really embracing this idea of slow living, where every little detail matters. And, maybe most importantly, you let the world speak for itself by keeping the talking to a minimum or even zero.
An amazing atmosphere is one thing, but to keep someone watching, you still need a story. So, let's get into the structure and see how you can organize all these beautiful moments into a simple but really compelling narrative blueprint. This simple 6-act structure gives a really natural rhythm to your story. Just think of it as the arc of a perfect, peaceful day. You start with a purely visual hook that sets the scene. Then you ease everyone into the world with a gentle morning routine. The story gets bigger as you connect with nature before you focus in on a core task, like cooking, which kind of becomes the centerpiece. Then you have a moment of quiet reflection, which leads to a calm, cozy ending as the day is over. It just guides the viewer on a really complete and satisfying journey. Okay, this next part is so important. Directing sensory details. This is where you go from just being someone who records things to being an active director. You're going to consciously use sound and light and your camera, not just to capture a scene, but to make your viewer feel it with all of their senses.
In a silent vlog, sound becomes your most important narrator. Seriously, it tells the story the dialogue can't. Take the sound of heavy rain and thunder. It doesn't just tell you it's raining, it instantly sets a mood. It could feel dramatic, it could feel cleansing, or it can make that feeling of being safe inside even cozier.
Sound can also create physical sensations. That gentle crackle of a campfire doesn't just say, hey, there's a fire. It actually radiates warmth. It creates a feeling of safety and comfort and this kind of primal nostalgia. You are literally directing an emotion using only sound.
And think about how sound can make the simplest actions amazing. That sizzle of vegetables hitting a hot pan, or the satisfying crunch of fresh bread. These are incredibly powerful, almost ASMR-like details. They pull the viewer in close and turn a routine task like cooking into a really deep sensory experience.
So this table basically lays out your entire creative toolkit. Don't think of these as rules, think of them as ingredients. You're going to want to blend wide shots that establish the big picture with these intimate close-ups that focus on tiny details. You'll layer that ambient background noise with the specific, crisp sounds of whatever you're doing. And you'll basically paint with light, using soft, natural, or warm tones to sculpt that signature cozy, cinematic mood.
So, we've gone through the philosophy, we've broken down the atmosphere, and we've laid out the structure and all the technical tools. Now, it's about turning all that knowledge into your own unique creation. It's time for you to tell your story. Here's a really simple checklist just to get you started.
First, just decide on the world you want to create. What's the core theme? Then, sketch out a simple story, using that 6-act structure as your guide. And before you even pick up a camera, brainstorm the key sensory details, the sounds, the light, the textures that you want to capture. And above all, just trust your visuals and give your story the space it needs to breathe by really embracing that slow, immersive pace.
So what's it gonna be? This is the first and most exciting decision, choosing the world you want to build. Will it be the deep, deep quiet of a snowy cabin, the gentle, sort of thoughtful mood of a rainy village, or the rugged solitude of a forest hut? Your theme is what sets the stage for absolutely everything that follows.
You know, in the end, everything we've talked about here is just a framework. It's a canvas. All the tools and techniques, they're just here to serve your vision. So the final and most important question is the one that only you can answer. What silent story will you choose to tell?